Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler and today we are doing a top 10 most carried knives of September of 2020. So as you can see, I only have 9 knives out here. Along with my PM2, my Benchmade Super Freak is on a, we'll call it a spa day. He's going for a spa day for the next couple weeks. So these are my top 10, including the Benchmade Super Freak, most carried knives of September of 2020. I'm going to count backwards, and these are laid out in no particular order. I'm just going to count backwards and talk about each knife as I pick it up. This isn't going to be a long video, just kind of an update. So first and foremost, my Defcon Kabuki. I carried this for about 4 days this month, or this past month. I love this knife quite a bit. It's probably no longer my favorite, but it just feels so darn good, and that action is so smooth. It's just so hard not to pick this knife up and flip it. I mean, this isn't a knife, I could probably use this for hard use. I don't, because it's just too pretty. This is one of those knives that you get in your hand and you're like, I want to carry this, but I don't want to use it on something more than like paper or maybe even cardboard. Like, I hate cutting tape with this because I hate getting it all gummy on the freaking blade. Like, that's how much I love this, and I love the look. So, this is probably my number 10 most carried knife. My numbers 8 and 7, or 9 and 8, are probably tied, and it's these two. Actually, I would say my number 9 is probably my QSP Copperhead. Now, it's not fair to label it as number 9 because I would have carried this much more. There's two things. I really got to bring this blade back to life after I screwed it up trying to cut that wire, A. But B, I haven't had it that long. I think I got this like September 25th or September 26th. So it's just, you know, as time goes on, you'll probably see this more. And with the Super Freak on Spa Day, this is kind of my replacement Super Freak. I'm gonna do a comparison between those two. I freaking love this knife. My number 8, the QSP Puffin. The reason this is number 8 and not number 9 or tied for number 9 is because it is small and I actually carry it around the house in basketball shorts and everything else. Having this knife for longer and longer, I like this knife more and more. This is probably one of my favorite knives of this size, and ironically, my Forged Falcon is a totally different beast than this knife, which has probably the best ergonomics in the knife that I've ever felt. But once I had this, I was choosing this over this. Maybe it's a new factor, maybe it's not. Only time will tell, but as of right now, my QSP Puffin is definitely going to be around for quite some time. I'm in love with this knife. It's just, it feels fantastic. Number 7. Number 7, we are going to go with the Spyderco Astute. The Spyderco Astute, I liked it, and I carried it a little bit more than just for reviewing. But it didn't get much more pocket time, and especially once the Puffin came in, like there's no reason to have a smaller knife like this laying around when you got the Puffin. It's just the reason this got more time was because that it does have a longer lifespan in my household. I think I got it in the beginning of September, so take that for what you will. Next on the list is my Honey Badger with the drop point style. I've carried this knife quite a bit. I love this knife. It's a great beater knife for 30 bucks. I'm not scared to use this knife, and it is ridiculously comfortable in hand. It's a fantastic knife. The action's great. You have Fidget Factor with this. For 30 bucks, you get Fidget Factor and no fear of beating the living shit out of it. This is the Honey Badger. I forgot I'm assuming the company's name's Honey Badger. I don't know. I forgot the name of the company. I think it is Honey Badger, but it's just, oh, that's what it was. The name of the company is Honey Badger, but this knife is the medium-sized drop point. Like, they don't really have names for their knives. That's why I was struggling there. Next on the list is my Forged Falcon. Absolutely love this guy from Drop. It's an S35 VN blade. The ergonomics on this, this is the best ergonomically small, we're going to call it small knife that I've ever felt. The choke up position here is the only position that you're going to want to use. Holding it like this, you kind of just, it doesn't feel good at all. But choked up, oh man, you don't even feel this thing in your hands. I could bear down and I don't even realize I got it there. Like this, just, the ergonomics are fantastic. The fidget factor is great. You can flick it. You got the Spidey hole kind of thing that you can do that with. And it's large enough to where you can, maybe not. It's not large enough to get your thumb in. And I really don't flick out with my thumb anymore anyways, so maybe that's why I'm struggling. But the Fair & Forged Falcon, $90, you really cannot go wrong. And I forgot to mention it. The Spyderco Astute coming in at about $45. The Honey Badger coming in at about $30. The Defcon Kabuki, I've seen that online for about $140, but I got it off a drop for about $90. The Copperhead's coming in at $60 on drop. I see it online for about $80. And then the Puffin coming in at $140, but I see it online for, I got it for $90. You can go to Chicago Cutlery for a lot of these, and they're coming in at roughly the same prices as drop, which is cool. So moving on. My number, what are we on? We're on number 4. So my number 4 most carried knife, I would probably say, is my Spyderco Manix 2. I used to carry this a lot more, but due to reviews and then the Super Freak came in, and unfortunately for the Manix 2, the Super Freak kind of took the Manix 2 spot. Now, the ergonomics on this are better in the choke-up position than the Super Freak, but the Super Freak really doesn't have a choke-up position, and the overall ergonomics on that, when you're not choked up, are way better than when you're not choked up on the Manix 2. It does have the Fidget Factor. One thing to note that I realized that nobody, who doesn't have a chance to hold a bunch of different knives may notice, this ball bearing lock here versus the axis lock, if you will, it is much tighter. So when I went from the Super Freak, which you can literally just lightly pull and it drops, back to this, it actually felt like I was putting a lot more effort into dropping this, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but for Fidget Factor, it's a bad thing, But if you don't know the difference, you won't know. But it's something that I noticed, that the axis locks break in. You can tell that the springs are much weaker. There's a lot less tension, which doesn't mean anything to me yet, other than it's just easier to fidget with than the Manix 2. So that's my Manix 2. Love it. It'll be forever part of my collection. It'll never go anywhere. I have forever love for this guy. So that was my number 4. My number 3 is going to be my QSP Penguin. I would say probably the Puffin is going to surpass this, and the Copperhead will both surpass this, because this almost takes the place, or the Puffin almost takes this place, because it's the same size blade. I try to carry one 3-inch and one larger knife with me at all times, just because A, reviewing, B, I feel bad for leaving my knives at home. All alone, lonely in their case, sitting in the closet, and it just makes me sad and makes me feel like a bad, neglectful parent. Shut up, Ronnie! Get it? That was a joke. I'm just kidding, Ronnie. So, this is the QSP Penguin. This is coming in at about $30. Great value for what you're getting. Awesome Warncliffe style blade. And you just can't go wrong with this guy. So this is my number 3 carried for the month. My number 2 most carried is the Revo Berserk. This probably would have got more carry time if I didn't have to fix this blade. A, and B, my Super Freak came in before this, and I was carrying my Super Freak a lot more, and probably will continue to do so, because obviously the Super Freak's amazing. That doesn't take anything away from the Revo Berserk. The Revo Berserk is a fantastic freaking knife. Ergonomics on it, as you've seen in my comparison video with the Manix 2, rival the Manix 2. It's fantastic. Everything about this knife is great. You cannot go wrong with this. I got this for $45 on drop. I think they're going for like $60 everywhere else. But again, if you search hard enough, you can get a good deal on these. Unfortunately, my number 1 knife is not currently here with us. So let's pretend this Rat Model 2 is my Super Freak. I'm just kidding. No, my Super Freak is my number 1 most carried knife of the month. I will recommend the Super Freak, even for the $190 price point, to anybody. If you are into the large size knives, I would say slightly above average when it comes to size, because our average nowadays is 3.25, 3.5-ish. That's coming in around 3.6. The Fidget Factor, the blade, everything about the Super Freak is amazing, guys. And that will also be a forever component in my arsenal. I don't ever see myself getting rid of that until I get 60 knives and have to make a decision. So, but that's been it. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Tyler. This is Everyday EDC. This was my top 10 most carried knives for September. Stay sharp, stay safe. Don't drink a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. Go back to coffee. Have a great day.